Christina,
Hello.
how
Hi.
are you, dear?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, you look good.
Thank you.
I love all your cubbies. Is this the Mary Kay room?
This is, yes, it is. And it's a work in progress. I got a new desk, a new cubby. So I'm like reorganizing right now. So it's a little bit of a mess behind me
I want to
over
see the
there.
puppy. Where's the puppy? Where's the puppy?
Oh, she's in the other room. She's
Okay.
behind a gate in the family room
Okay, I want to see pictures anyway.
because
So
she's a handful. She would be in here trying to eat everything. So
puppies are, yes, yes,
mhm.
babies. By the way, your complexion looks lovely,
Thank
creamy, flawless, smile. Yes, yes.
Very
And in body
good.
language, that is, serving your facial beauty on display. So I love that.
And
Oh, I'm gonna
hiding the chins. I have an aunt who does this in all pictures all the time. She's so
eh,
funny. She's like every picture she's got her hand up to hide.
well, and that's a good strategy. And also this means that you're attentive and you're listening, especially with the head tilt.
Yeah, I do this a lot.
Yes, yes, yes. You're really, really focused.
Really leaning in and focusing. I'm one of those people that lean forward a lot, and I ruin all my shirts because I rub them on the desk because I lean in so much.
That means you're attentive and are interested in your subject. So that's a good
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Not for my clothes, it's not.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, I'm wearing the
Eye cream.
cream.
How do you like it?
I love it. It's nice. You squeeze just as much as you want and you dab it on.
It doesn't take very much. You can do under the eye, outside, on top,
Yeah, I do it on top.
and then I do between my eyes, and
Yeah, I
then
do
I'm
that.
also doing my upper lip
Yeah. Oh, I
because
haven't thought about that, but I do
we start to
here,
get lines there. But yeah, right here,
right here.
women get lines. So usually it's here, crow's feet first, but a lot
Yeah.
of people have the number 11, either a 1 or an 11.
Right. This indicates stress, and wherever you see a deeper groove, that means the opposite hemisphere, there's stress in the opposite hemisphere. So
Oh,
this side of the face is controlled by this
right, the
hemisphere.
opposite. Yep.
So what I was saying about the cop who just got convicted, right? He was looking side to side during the verdict. And
Uh-huh.
that's typical of police officers because they're scanning the room
Scanning.
for safety, right?
Mhm.
But also he's accessing both of his hemispheres and his hit when we're looking at somebody. Okay, I think it's, yeah, it would be his left eyebrow went up during the verdict, which means that the right side, his creative, emotional, artistic side, was surprised by the verdict, and the left logical, rational, analytic side did not show the eyebrow lift. So the
Hmm.
eyebrow lift can mean doubt, disbelief. So his emotional side couldn't believe the verdict, but his rational side didn't lift. So he probably knew it was not going well. So
I'm not an eyebrow lifter. I've never noticed me lifting eyebrow. I notice other people doing it.
well, yeah, we don't notice ourselves, but every time you see a good friend, you lift your eyebrows. Hey, Jeanette.
Well, that's both, but I mean, I don't do one or the other,
Yeah, I have a hard time doing that. The Rock can do that easier.
but I can't even close, like I can close my left eye, but I can't close my right. It's either left or both. I cannot. My husband thinks it's funny. I can't close my right eye.
Okay, twirl your tongue. Can you turn
Do
your tongue?
what?
Okay, you can do
Twirl?
yeah, you can do the U, flip it around. You can't.
No. What's that mean?
I don't know. I have to find
You
out.
just want to see if I do it, right?
It probably means something. I have to look into it. But I got a lot of my face reading training from Lynn Clausen. Do you know Lynn? She's
Mm-mm.
in St. Clair Shores. She's a networker too. So,
Okay.
and in Metro Detroit, we're always overlapping, especially ladies entrepreneurial stuff. So
Yeah, I just signed a new woman on my team last Thursday,
good.
and I'm seeing who her friends are, and we are connected in so many different ways. And Facebook has really made the world really small. It's
Yes, especially
amazing.
connecting to like our high school friends who we wouldn't normally connect to because we've all moved on.
Hmm.
So thank you for agreeing to be interviewed today, Kristina. And what I really want to
You're
get
welcome.
from you is you represent like my ideal dream client. You are a female entrepreneur, growth minded, and you're service oriented, which means you really want to help people's lives and bring out their inner confidence. So part of my developing a 6-week and a 12-week online body language training is to do these in-depth qualitative interviews. One of my masters is in market research. So when I spend an hour with my ideal dream client and really hear the language that you have when you deal with your ideal dream clients and how you notice their body language, and you said you move in, that helps me understand your lifestyle, to help me with the copywriting, to really speak the language when I do my promotions, to
Okay.
attract more of you and
Like-minded.
repel, the others who don't fit in
Okay.
what I'm trying to get.
Okay.
So I'm going to do 2 sets of recording just in case there's any issue with Zoom. As you know, there's always AV issues, right? so, so now you mentioned, Kristina, that when you talk to people, you lean in. Tell me more about that.
I just do. I don't even realize sometimes that I'm doing it.
Okay, tell me more. So you're engaged in a Zoom call or face to face or what?
Usually it's a face to face. So I haven't done I'm not doing face to face through
Right.
the whole COVID. Everything I'm doing is online. Um, so I don't notice it online as much because I don't really need to, I don't know, but I do it in person. I don't really lean in online, but I do lean in. Actually, I try to get back so I don't look like I'm right taking up the whole screen. But in person, I'm always leaning in. I,
That is
I
a
don't
good
know.
thing.
I've done it since I was a financial advisor. I noticed that. I remember having to put tape on my desk so I wouldn't snag my clothes.
And I love that strategy of putting tape so you don't snag your clothes to prevent ruining, expensive blouses.
Hmm.
But in a body language sense, that is excellent because you are non-verbally telling the person you're engaging with, hey, I'm interested in you. Tell me more about what you're doing. And I'm leaning in. When we like somebody and like something, okay, together, Kristina, we're leaning in, lean in, lean in, lean in. Okay. When we don't like what we
Yep.
hear and we don't like somebody,
Then
yeah,
you
we're
sit back
leaning
like
back.
this.
So when you lean in, you're telling the other person that they matter.
I've gotten from my previous clients, my former career, people used to always say, it was always the women would always say, you really enjoy what you're doing, don't you? That's what I would get. I
That's
never got it from the
awesome.
men. I got it from the women, but it
That's
was
why
usually
women,
with couples
yes,
and the women would comment.
that's why women are our ideal dream clients because of statements like that.
Hmm.
How can women tell that you are fully engaged when you're interacting with your ideal dream client? What kind of compliments have they given you and what kind of feedback have they given you that really touched your heart and indicated to you that you're engaged with them in a positive manner? What
A
do
lot of
they?
people tell me that I'm a really good listener and I pick up on what they're saying and I make really good suggestions. So I get that feedback. I get very little negative. I did have one negative experience last week,
I
but
want
that
to hear
was
about that. I want to hear a positive and a negative, especially
most of
regarding
mine
body.
are positive. I don't have very many negative experiences, but when I do, I really take them to heart because I'm not used to it.
And they're
So
learning opportunities. That
they're,
person is telling us something that can be our growth area. So
Well,
tell
I
me.
know a lot of it is lost in translation because this was all Facebook messaging and
Yeah, I
a
don't like.
lot gets lost. I did a voice message. So I'll do a voice instead of typing messages sometimes because I can get more across and that way they can hear my voice.
And your
And
enthusiasm and your
mhm.
inflection.
Well, the recording didn't work so well, so it dropped off part of my recording. So she heard up to a certain point, but didn't hear the explanation beyond that, and then didn't give me the opportunity to explain, and then decided to go on the attack.
Well, she reacted based on the information that she got, and it wasn't the full information.
But she wouldn't even give me the opportunity to give her
Right.
the full information at that point.
She didn't know that maybe the important information was missing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is bad that she went on attack, because that means her reptilian brain was activated. But I'm imagining you were calm, cool, and professional.
Yes. Yes, I tried to be. Yep.
How did you remain? Okay, because I want to hear a negative scenario and how you managed through that. And you mentioned the negative, so tell me more details about the negative, and especially weave in the body language or the vocal qualities if it wasn't face-to-face or on Zoom.
Well, that's the hard part is with it just being messages when you're typing, you're not getting body language. You're just getting, it's hard to pick up on what someone's tone is through texting.
Exactly. I don't like texting.
Right. So I really don't know. All I know is she blocked me and everything. So I'm like, okay.
Now,
I know she has a lot on her plate, so I understand that she's actually a neighbor right down the street from me. So I know she's got a lot going on. So I don't think it was really me.
It's
I think
80-20.
she's just stressed and it just hit her the wrong way. There were a couple experiences with her leading up to that that I noticed things like that happening. So like her responses would be snippy.
Yes, and it's probably 90-10 or 80-20. Tell me now, you and I both agree that when it's text, it's one-dimensional. One-dimensional, it's just the typed words. So you tried to make it multi-dimensional with a voicemail. What happened? Did the most important part get cut off or garbled or what?
Well, it had to do with like hostess credit for hosting a party. And I was going to give her something and I was letting her know what the standings of the party was, like I do with all hostesses. So they know what their credit would be and all that kind of stuff like that. So I had offered to give her a free skincare set because she had tried it and loved it, but couldn't afford it. So she was giving it back to me. And I came up with a way for her to keep it. And it was to host a party to put me in front of her friends. And so that's what it was all about. She ended up dropping it off on my porch the next morning after getting the message apparently that I sent the night before.
Okay. That's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really don't know.
Right. Well,
I was kind of at a loss. I'm like, and then she wrote me a really long letter and she said that I threw the letter away. I'm trying to think of some of the terms that she said.
That is distancing in body language. That's distancing. When we distance something that is distasteful for us, like a diaper or a nasty letter. So you threw it away.
I threw it away so it would be out of sight, out of mind, and I would try to stop thinking about it because it bothered me. Sure. Because I never want anybody to be unhappy with my service, so it really, I try to figure out a way to make it right, but I had to come to the point, realize it wasn't me. It was her. And all I could do is apologize. And if she didn't accept my apology, there really wasn't anything more I could do about it.
Yeah. So I know you to be a professional and a kind, caring, and loving person.
I try.
Okay, so the takeaway from the whole experience for me in your story is the value of having a visual interaction. And see, typed words is one thing, and then when the reader reads it, they read the words, but they don't get
The
the
inflection in your voice
and you and your spirit and your energy and your body language and your facial expressions. So they're missing all that. That the typed text is just the tip of the iceberg, and everything else is missing. It really is. That's why when we interact with people, it's, if at all possible, it should be done via phone call or like this. I will give you an example. Another friend of mine in her interview said that her family referred somebody to her for business, and she took that referral and she didn't use the usual filters to screen that person, right?
Okay.
Then that person became such a pain in the ass. um, and we discovered in Leah's interview that had she done a 15 or a 30-minute pre-screen interview like what we're doing, it's not a pre-screen interview, but Zoom,
face to face.
She could have qualified the person more, gotten through without, and then qualified and filtered in or filtered out that person without having to spend additional time. My photographer, Robin Gamble. Sometimes she meets somebody at the site and then she realizes issues that can't be avoided in that moment. But if she had done a 15 or a 30-minute Zoom interview, she might realize that the person has, an ear stuck out, so that lets her know that this is the good side. One client had a crossed eye, and so she couldn't fix the crossed eye in the photography. One person was missing a tooth. So you see what the visual just gives her a heads up so that she can discuss with the client, hey, what are your best features? Well, I think my smile is my best feature. Okay, so we'll feature some close-ups and blah, blah, blah. What are some areas of your body that, you're kind of sensitive about? Oh, for every woman, it's my tummy. So then Robin may mention the clothing that can accentuate the positives and make the client feel at ease. So you see, in her case, especially as a photographer, it's absolutely critical to do the body language assessment beforehand. And you know how to properly apply makeup, but a lot of women don't. So that's another reason when Robin sees somebody and their makeup is too distracting, then she can politely mention to tone it down before going on the shoot and then dealing with it when it's too late.
Right.
So tell me about several good instances where you're really using body language, or it's just going very well in your interaction with.
Well, maybe with that person that I signed up last week, I've known her. I originally met her right after COVID. She's an occupational therapist, and she was working with COVID patients in recovery. And so I was delivering packages to women that were dealing with COVID patients. And I met her through that. And so she became a customer, and she's been buying, and she's always been intrigued by Mary Kay. She loved the products. She was watching me, and she was seeing what I was doing, and she was trying to figure out if it was something that she could do. And then as I got to know her, I realized it wasn't only something that she could do, it was something that she needed, because Mary Kay is more than just us selling products. It's also a ministry. So, this is something people get into it for different reasons. They get into it. Sometimes they just need girlfriends.
Yes.
And that's one way, because it's hard to make friends when you're older. Right now, being in COVID, if I didn't have Mary Kay as an outlet to make friends, I don't know what I would, do. I wouldn't be making new friends, but I've made new friends through COVID, and most people don't get that opportunity.
And they're friends, they're like-minded friends where we want to help one another and increase our internal confidence and external, confidence.
Yeah. So I just wanted to help her because I knew she had a need and I knew it was something that I could help her with, but she had to come to that realization that it was something that she needed in her life, because she wants changes in her life. She's very unhappy with her
Yes.
job.
All of us could improve in our lives. And
Mhm.
when someone cares, and you always show that you care, Kristina, and you're so delightful, you put the extra touches. Thank you. You know, it's not only just getting the item that a woman purchases, but you put a little note, and it's handwritten, and you say, thank you for supporting my small business. So I think women relate to that because we're
Mhm.
relational. Guys, maybe not so much. I don't know. You know, and guys, for some reason, they can roll out of bed and not put anything preventive on their face, and they're good to go. You know,
They don't
so,
have to. I know, they're
well,
so lucky.
yeah, they don't value that as much, but they sure value it in women, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So
because once they stop doing it, they're
yeah,
not happy
yes. What
with
have
that.
you noticed about yourself over the years or the decades of doing your business, Mary Kay? What have you noticed in yourself? How have you changed in your energy, in your self-esteem, and in your body language?
I used to be very, very, very shy and an introvert. And so I have come out of my shell a lot.
I'm an
'Cause
introvert too.
I had to learn that. And I'm still an introvert sometimes an extrovert. So I'm kind of like both. But I have come out of my shell because I learned that it by being shy, I was being it was all about me. And I needed to get out of my shell to be able to help others.
Yes.
And so I've learned that being in Mary Kay, I never learned it before. I was doing it, but not realizing what I was doing or why I was doing it until Mary Kay,
Mhm.
because that's what our national sales director, she could be a preacher
Mhm.
because of what she tries to get across. So it's been really interesting being in this business. I don't see myself ever leaving it just because of that part of it that I get from it, not just making money selling the product, but all the growth that I've had being part of the organization. You know, me building a relationship and developing faith, which was not something that I really had before. So there's many different aspects to this. So I've grown in my, my faith. Not I've been more of an extrovert. I absolutely hate talking in front of people, getting up in groups in front of people, and I still have a hard time with doing that, but I'm doing it. Where before I would do everything I could to avoid doing it. And now I actually will volunteer to do things because I know I need to do it to get outside my comfort zone.
My stepmom is an ideal client of yours. And let me tell you what difference you make in her life. She is lonely and she doesn't have a lot of friends, but she absolutely loves her skincare. And so what you do for Sandy is you help her feel good about herself. You put a fresh face on her through Mary Kay products. And it's like her spa.
Mm-hmm.
It's her spa daily of self-care.
I was just going to say she's taking care of herself, and that's more important now than ever is self-care.
And and so you give her a daily dose of self-care. The 5 minutes that a woman cleans her face and puts on the moisturizer and feels that velvety texture and protects her eyes, you help her face the day, right?
Well, it
Face the
helps
day.
to transform them from your mood can change by
Yes.
doing something as simple as that. Your mood can change by putting on a lipstick.
By the way, your
People
lipstick
always say,
looks
well,
good.
thank you.
Yeah.
I love Zooms now because I can wear lipstick because when I'm
And it's
out, you're wearing a
natural.
mask so no one sees it.
Yeah.
But I still wear it
Yes.
because I feel better when I wear it.
Yes. Yes.
So I know I have to take my mask off in the car.
And there's lipstick in there.
Not so bad. It's not
Okay.
so bad. but
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I have it on. So before
Very
Mary
good.
Kay, I didn't wear makeup much. I wore like very minimal, and I still wear very minimal compared to, I mean, we have some, like my director is half my age, and I mean, her routine, I could never do her routine. I don't have that much time.
Right. The other
She's,
thing that Sandy loves about you is when she receives her surprise birthday gift or Christmas gift that and you put together for her, that is probably the best moment of her day. Number one,
aw,
she's surprised. Number two, you take extra care and attention to a handwritten card, a lovely package. You make it pretty. And when you make these items pretty, she feels pretty.
mhm.
So that's the intangible feeling that you give to people. It's not about the product. It's not. It's about feeling that, for Sandy, feeling that somebody she doesn't even know, you in another state, took the time to care for her.
I love delivering packages more so than sending them. I wish I could personally deliver to her,
Oh,
because
you're
like
so
yesterday, for
sweet.
an example, I had a hostess and I delivered her. So, and when I can deliver, I don't use like Mary Kay plastic bags. I use white craft bags, and I put tissue paper.
Yes, it's a gift.
So it is a gift. Yes. And that's what I want it to be like. So I see people's eyes just light up when I bring them a package, and they're always like, this is too pretty.
It's so pretty. It's
Sometimes people say, do you want the bag back? Because I know this
that's
costs
so
you
cute.
money. And I'm like, no, it's a
No, you
gift.
deserve it.
Yes.
You just see, and that's what women, we women tend to do everything for everybody else, and we leave ourselves the last woman on the totem pole. So, what Mary Kay does, and what your friendship and attention does, is you say, hey, you're worth it. For you, you're getting a little package on your porch with tissue paper, and it's so pretty, and yes, you can keep it. So so back to how you have changed through your years of Mary Kay. You mentioned introversion, extroversion. What about the energy that you um, can describe, and how you carry yourself now, describing it with body language?
Well, I don't notice so much of a difference, but other people have noticed
Yes, what did they say?
differences and have mentioned. I didn't realize how many women are looking up to me. I didn't have a clue. So there are people that are new in Mary Kay that come in. There's a lot of people watching me and what I'm doing. And I didn't realize that I was making an impact on these women. And I've been told by them that they want to be like me. They want to, be as successful in
Oh,
business
how does
as
that
I
touch
am.
your heart?
I know. And
How
I could cry right now, even thinking about it.
how does that touch your heart? And what do they mean when they say they want to be like you?
It means a lot, because I didn't grow up getting any kind of positive reinforcement or anything. There wasn't a lot of positiveness growing up in my life. And that feels really good to hear it. And it makes me want to do more and do better and help more. I mean, I always try to be that. We have in Mary Kay, we call it the go give spirit. And I always try to be go give, have that go give spirit, and try to help people as much as I can. Even newbies that are even part of our unit. I want to help them. I always want to help. I'm always that first person that pitches in to help, and the last person that's there to help clean up and things like that. That's just,
Well, and because you give with a giving, generous, selfless heart, people feel that energy, and they feel that that's genuine, and then that it leaves a positive impression on people. And you're right. I am always surprised because you and I are just being ourselves, right? We're just
mhm.
being ourselves, serving others. And I'm always surprised when somebody texts me and says, you're so positive. I love your positive energy. And I'm just being myself.
Right.
So when they text me that, like, I miss your positive energy and your ray of sunshine, that means that they don't see it enough in other people, because then my energy, which is no big deal to me, is a big deal to them.
Mm-hmm.
So your giving and your being so wonderful warms other people's hearts that they don't
I
get
just
enough of
wonder
that.
where it comes from, because it definitely wasn't how I was raised.
Well, I think that you are a delightful woman naturally, and you see the value in your brand, and you truly do want to help other women. Like for me, I am so gung-ho about body language and helping and empowering other people to truly reclaim our natural language. Before before we were born, Kristina, you and I were body language experts. We were experts. We were consuming and absorbing and smelling and listening to our mother's life and what she was giving us nutrient wise. And then when we had to learn our verbal language, we transitioned from being a body language expert before the age of 2 to now we're mature, fully grown women, and now we're body language amateurs. Well, I'm not an amateur, but you know what I mean.
I just wonder, because my background is probably very different than a lot of other people, even in the womb and thereafter was not the best situation.
Yes, yes.
I was a big oops,
Well,
and
I was too.
I almost wasn't here
Yeah, yeah. I was
because
a big oops, but you know what? Look, from where you entered into the world to who you are now, that's because of you. And that's because you decided to embrace a positive brand and convey that and help other women look better and feel better. So thank you for sharing all that. I wanted to show you some questions that I can ask you regarding body language. So we're going to go into my ClickFunnels just so that I can see the questions. Let's see. Like the first question is, maybe I can remember these from heart instead of going to the screen, because I kind of want to see both of us. Okay, I'll try to remember these from heart. When you're interacting with other people, how do you build the rapport and how do you observe them regarding body language?
well, definitely listening to what they're saying and then validating what they're saying as well makes them feel better about themselves and what they're saying, that shows that I'm interested in what they have to say. um I listen a lot and observe a lot, and sometimes I don't say a whole lot because I'm actually a very quiet person. I'm on the quieter side. Unless you get to know me, then I will talk a lot. But as far as people that I don't know very well or in business, I'm more of a listener.
That's therapeutic. How can the other person tell that you are listening?
Because I make eye contact. And I think that's a huge thing.
And you
And I think
mentioned you
that's something,
lean
the
forward.
leaning in, the eye contact.
What else
I
did
like to take notes too, so I don't forget things, because I want to remember things, because because sometimes I might need that information to make them feel better later.
mm-hmm.
There's things that, their concerns or even their likes and things like that. I'll jot down something that they like, and then maybe later on, like for a birthday or something like that, I can remember that and then do something special for them.
How can they tell in your face that you are paying attention and are listening?
I tend to smile a lot when I'm talking to people.
and you have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
And I love your eyes. Your eyes are very warm and welcoming. They're
Thank
brown,
you.
right? Yeah, yeah.
They're hazel.
They look darker today. You know what? Maybe because
They
you're very
changed.
brownish and your hair is a brown color.
Yeah, my hair is I need to get my bangs trimmed. They're a little long.
Speaking of bangs, when you have bangs, like right now I don't have bangs, but when a woman has bangs, you minus 10 years off your life.
Really?
It's yes, it makes you more youthful, more approachable, more, teenager-ish, right? And more welcoming.
Well, I will always have bangs, so that's good to know.
Like
I
right
have
now, look.
I have psoriasis on my forehead,
Uh-huh.
so I will always have bangs to help cover,
Oh, okay.
but I've always had bangs.
Mary Kay's products could probably, is there a product that
It's an autoimmune disease, so you can't, yeah, it's autoimmune. So I can just try to, cover it.
Mhm.
And that's what bangs do. Bangs
And
help
they
with
look good. And so bangs draw the attention right to your beautiful eyes. So I notice your eyelashes, and they're not done so obvious. Like so many women have dark, obvious eyebrows that look artificial, and then the long, fake eyelashes. But yours look
That's not me.
natural, and
I'm all about the natural.
me
All
too.
about the natural.
Right, right.
I mean, I wear mascara only so you can see that I have lashes because my lashes are blonde.
Were you a strawberry blonde as a kid?
I am strawberry blonde, yeah.
Yeah,
So right now I'm closer to my natural color.
yeah.
I let it all grow out during COVID,
Okay.
and then I have some highlights, but there's red in my hair. So if I was in the sun, you would see.
It looks
I'm Irish and
awkward.
Scottish.
You're Scottish?
Irish and Scottish.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I'm going to see if I can find those questions, because I still want both of ourselves side by side, like what I'm showing here. Okay. So,
Mhm.
Kristina, grab an imaginary quarter, put it on your thumb. We're going to flip it. Heads or tails. Okay. Call what you want. Heads or tails.
Heads.
Mine is tails. So on the count of 3, you and I are going to synchronize and flip our quarter. 1, 2, 3. Flip it, catch it, slap it down, rub it for good luck. Now reveal it. Reveal it. What'd you get? Did you get heads or tails?
I got heads.
Okay, I got tails. Heads or tails, Kristina, it doesn't matter, because we have a 50-50 chance of catching deception. Now, that's average. If we're catching 50-50, right? If you're catching 50%, that means you're missing 50%, right?
Ah.
Right? And do we want to improve our odds, Kristina? Heck yeah.
Yes.
So that's average. If you were to rate yourself from 0 to 100, where would you put yourself on the scale? And 100 is you can see everything and you're like a mind reader. And you know exactly what the person is hiding or not hiding. And 50% is on average. So where would you place yourself?
Pretty high actually.
Good. Okay.
I wouldn't put myself at 100, but if you knew some of the things that I knew and figured out that no one told me, it's amazing.
Okay. So what rank would you give yourself?
75.
Okay, 75. Now, how do you explain this extra gift that you have, that you can sense something that nobody has explained to you, and you are more likely to be accurate?
I wish I could explain it. I have no idea how to explain how I have the gift. I don't know.
It could be that you're in tune with body language and intuition, and you have your female intuition. there are people who are called empaths, and so they can sense the energy from other people. Our gut is our second brain. So if you feel anything in your body that alerts you of the energy between you and the other person, and children, people who have suffered, difficult childhoods tend to be more vigilant and hyper sensitive
Sensitive.
on what's going on, because as a child, in order for them to survive, they had to be aware of every little thing that's going on, and their amygdala was in hyperactive mode. It's almost like PTSD. They scan the environment for every little nuance. So that could have
That's me. That's me.
yeah, that could have added to your gift. Now you can really use that gift to assess what's going on. And if anything is showing discomfort in your other person, you can use your strategies and diplomacy to keep the rapport very good and maintain the connection. So you can use it to leverage your connection with that person. So you said 75%, okay? Now, I want to ask you, I'm looking at my other, regarding body language, what is your number one focus, Kristina, when you are interacting with other entrepreneurs and women? What's your number one focus regarding body language with them?
If they're engaging with me, if they're responding, if they're listening to me as well. Because, I want to listen to people, but I also want people to listen to me. So I want to know that they're listening.
And how can you tell if they're listening?
They're engaging, they're responding, they're asking questions, they're having a conversation with me.
And they're smiling.
They're smiling, of course.
Yeah.
And you can tell a lot, people's eyes tell a lot too. And you can tell because when people aren't engaging, they're like, you see them looking for someone else to talk to or something else, or they're highly distracted.
Yes. Yes.
Because they don't want to engage.
Right. And once again, that's 80 or 90% them and a fraction about us. Okay. Because we don't know what's in their life, and if they have ADHD, or if they're thinking about multiple things or a deadline, right? But oftentimes we personalize it to be us, but it's more likely them. I had a client or a colleague who said he could tell when other people aren't listening, because especially with light colored eyes, you and I kind of have darker eyes, but let's say blue-eyed people or light-eyed people, he could see when that person, light-eyed people, were changing their browsers and not engaged with Aaron, my friend. So he could see the reflection of the computer on the eyes of light-colored eyed people, and could see that they were flicking into Facebook instead of doing the one. But you see, that's body language, right? The
I'm gonna have to look at people's eyes for that now to see if they're doing.
Yes. And with glasses, the glasses is a larger frame where the reflection from the computer monitor reflects onto the glasses, so you can see, is Jeanette checking her Facebook when she's talking to so busted. So that's the value of my doing interviews with people, because I would have never thought of that. And Aaron told me that. And you tell me the importance of listening, right? You would be listening. And then somebody else, Howard, said, Jeanette, I just wish I could read people's minds. And I said, Howard, you have something even better. You can read and detect the body. because the body reacts through the nervous systems faster than the mind can develop the words, right?
Hmm.
Because of
Okay.
survival. If there was a snake crawling up your leg, you would react faster than thinking of the words, oh my God, there's a snake on me. Your body would just react. So
Mhm.
that was the nugget that I got from Howard. So in my copywriting, I can say, ever wish you could read people's minds? Well, you've got something better. You can detect and decode body language. You see the value of the interviews? Okay. What else are you looking for when I'm looking at my notes? So that's why my eyes are going here. What other, what other, excuse me, what else do you focus on when you're engaging with other people visually?
Visually?
Yeah, via Zoom or face to face.
Hmm, that's a good question. I definitely want to, make sure that they're looking at me. You know, it's harder, I think, on the computer than it is face to face because you're not seeing their full body.
Yes, yes.
So, I think it is more of a struggle because you can't see. I mean, right now you can't tell. I mean, am I like, you probably can't even, I don't know how I'm sitting. You can tell when the way people are sitting
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. But if you can't see, I notice a lot of people you can't even see like from here down the way they position their monitors. So you're seeing, basically just their heads usually, hopefully not up their nose.
But the good news is, uh, if we reframe that, that means we can focus right here, and actually it narrows our focus. But you're absolutely right. My number one tip is to look feet first. Feet first. If all 10 toes are pointing to you, then you know that that other person is attentive. If 1 foot and 5 toes are pointing to the exit, then you know that the person is half getting prepared to exit, maybe because she has to pick up her kids or go to her next appointment or go to the bathroom. Okay, so then you can be diplomatic and say, hey, I wanted to cover a lot of other things. Why don't we schedule another appointment?
Right.
Or whatever you need to say in that moment. Always look at the 10 toes first. And,
Okay.
and if the leg is crossed over, that's also an indicator of something in the moment. But if it's flat, that's the best. High powered negotiations have the best outcomes when all the feet are flat on the floor and not crossed. You don't want to close the deal. Try to pitch your close when you see crossed legs. You want them flat because that's balance.
Standing or sitting.
Yes, yes. If you see the client is in a wrapped around position and you are face to face with them, you might say, "Hey, I want to show you my new coffee maker," to get them out of their entanglement. And then as she's walking and you're walking, you're matching and mirroring her pace, her rhythm. Her left leg goes out, your left leg should go out. Her right leg goes out, your right leg should go out. It's like a dance. And so
Hmm.
you're leading and pacing and you're synchronizing with your prospect so that non-verbally she feels that you understand her and you're aligned with her. Then you want to invite her back to the table. And instead of being directly across, let's say you were directly across, you might be in the L shape so she feels comfortable. And you want to look at her 2 legs and make sure that her 2 legs are not like this. You see? Okay? Because that
Okay.
means something is still closed off. You want it open and receptive. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm imagining you're looking at her face and you're focused on the face, and you can even look at the shoulders. Even though we're in a Zoom, okay, I want you to shrug your shoulders. Shrug your shoulders. Now shrug one shoulder and the other shoulder. In addition to the person's face, notice if there's any shoulder shrugs, because in the moment of the shoulder shrug, you want to think to your head, okay, what did we just talk about? Because that
disbelief, if they're like, I don't believe you.
Yes. Insecurity, disbelief, uncertainty, and depending on which shoulder goes up, you have to wonder, why is there not synchronicity in both shoulders going up? Okay.
Okay.
The other thing that you can notice is the turtle tuck. When somebody brings in their neck like a turtle, what happened just in that moment, because that person didn't like whatever was happening right in that moment. Okay.
You just reminded me, the photographer tells me I need to tilt my head. I tend to go lift back more than down.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
It's always nice in photography to slightly tilt your head. That's a friendship signal, right? It's a friendship signal to, okay, we're nodding and tilting our head.
When you're really listening and stuff. Yeah.
And
I do that a lot. I
what
actually
your
do
friend
that a lot.
said, or was it your relative or
My aunt. Yeah. My aunt's always like, but that's to avoid showing
I'm gonna use this because
this.
this is playful, right? Okay. Okay, so focus on the feet, then shake your hands like this. Always know where the prospect's hands are and what they're doing. Because if
doing this,
the person is doing this while you're explaining things,
fidgeting,
that's not a good thing. Okay. Or I know some women twirl their hair a lot, you know, that might be their baseline. But when somebody is touching themselves, it's called adapters and self-pacifying. Why is Jeanette self-pacifying and pulling on herself when I'm doing my pitch? You know, you don't want the client to be,
because that means they're uncomfortable somehow.
Yes.
For some reason.
Right. And so, like a baby needs a pacifier, we adults will self-soothe ourselves by touching. Ever notice when men have full beards, they tend to do this a lot?
Oh, yeah, when they
right.
mustaches, they
pacifying. It the nerve endings tickle, and so we're soothing ourselves. What's your short-term desire when regarding body language when you're interacting with others? What do you want regarding body language when you're interacting with others?
Well, I want them to look happy, feel happy. Like I mean, I always want to teach them something. So I always want to feel like they're learning something.
Good.
And I want them to feel good when they leave me.
Yes.
Feel better than when they sometimes, I can have somebody come in for an appointment and they're down and you can see it. And then by the time they leave, their spirits are lifted, because then that means. How do you do that?
How did you do that?
How did I? Just doing my normal routine of, I don't follow, there's certain things we're supposed to follow and I don't do it like that. So I try to treat appointments like conversations.
Yeah.
Because I can't do note cards, bullet points. I can't follow an outline. I just have to speak freely.
Connection and conversation, and you actively listen.
Yes.
Regarding body language and what you know of body language, you gave yourself a 75%. How does that extra 25%, if average is 50, how does your extra 25% help you in your business?
I can tell if they're receptive, if they're interested in even learning or purchasing. I mean, ultimately, yes, I want a sale. I mean, that's why I'm doing Mary Kay, is to make money. I mean, has to be one of the top reasons, or, you know, I have to make money to live, pay bills, things like that. So, I just lost my train of thought for some reason. So that,
We're talking about what do you want in body language, and so and how does your, if an average person has 50% connect 50% ability to detect and decode, and you are 25%, 25 points above average, what does your extra 25% give you as an advantage?
I sometimes think I can like kind of predict where things are going because I'm always scanning what's going on. Um, I used to have this guy that came in, this was back years ago. I worked at Denny's after I got divorced, and I needed a job right away. So I was a hostess because that was like the quickest. My mom knew someone who got me the job and I was able to start immediately. So I was a hostess. And there was this guy that would come in on his lunch and come in and he would actually watch me work. And he goes, "How do you do that?" He would say, "I want to do a study on you because I was able to scan the entire restaurant and know what was happening in the entire restaurant, even though my job was just to see who was coming in and seat them. But I would know everything else going on because I would be constantly scanning and watching and anticipating what the needs were of other people and then helping other people along the way, whether they were servers or guests." So anticipation, I'm always anticipating what the next
Observing and
step.
anticipating based on what you see. And you just described, Kristina, the number one tip for body language, which is activating all five of our senses and really absorbing and observing and scanning the environment, not
Mhm.
just the body of the person, but what else is going on, and then observing and anticipating what the needs are. You are really gifted. And so if you're at 75%, and I develop a class that's, let's say, 12 weeks of self-pace where you can fit an hour in at your schedule and watch my training videos and really absorb the body language training. After 12 weeks, if you started the pre-test at a self-reported 75%, where would you expect to be at the end of 12 weeks of absorbing my training? Where would you expect to move from 75 to what?
Not definitely not 100 because that would be still, I think even 75 to 100 seems like a big jump, even though it probably isn't a huge jump, but maybe meeting halfway.
What number comes to your mind?
So 85,
Okay.
87.
And 85 and 87 is totally doable with your interest in body language and your natural ability to interact and absorb people. It's very doable. You can achieve that easily. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. That's why I love doing these interviews. They start at their initial point and they expect to move 15 to 20 points at the end
Okay.
of 12 weeks. Okay. So that's absolutely doable. And hey, I'll be teaching for free through Happy Neighborhood Project on Thursdays at 4 o'clock, one detect and decode class. Today it's at 4 for free. And I'll be analyzing Jodi Arias, who killed her boyfriend. But you'll be amazed. You know, you'll watch the video and you'll observe what you observe. And then through other people's comments and my analysis, everybody will say, "Oh my God, we all saw the video and it was right there in front, but I never realized this, and this are things that I missed," right? And then
Okay.
the clues are always right in front of you. That's why the 50-50. If you catch 50%, you're still missing 50%, right? So if you can catch it today, go on LinkedIn.
I did actually, I'm following it.
Okay.
So I did say, I did mark interested,
Oh, yay.
but I didn't like accept.
It
Like,
might be a
definitely.
Zoom URL, because if it's then you would need the Zoom. Hey,
I've also been told by a few people that I should have been a private investigator.
I was thinking the same thing when that stranger said he wanted to study you, because look, if you and I were FBI or CIA, we are non-threatening. Look at us. We're non-threatening. We can weave into the streets and the suburbs and the shopping malls with no attention to ourselves, and get the intel
Mhm.
and provide the intel to authorities, and nobody would see you or me doing it.
Maybe I need a new career. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that person gave you a big compliment by saying, I need to study you, how you were able to naturally just do this. And those skills that you just described of yourself, of how to scan the room and really sense where people are and what they need, is exactly what body language skills you need to do to be a good body language expert, and if you are law enforcement, to keep yourself and everybody else safe.
Mhm.
Okay, at the
Yep.
airport, at a shopping mall, wherever.
My daughter will tell you I really do have eyes behind my head.
That's a big compliment.
She's
Okay,
like, Mom, I could never get away with anything with you.
that's right. What immediate result do you want from body language training?
What immediate result? I just want to make sure people are feeling good about themselves, leaving my space feeling good,
Okay,
not feeling bad. I want them to feel better than when they met with me.
that's an excellent immediate result, and you absolutely can get that, because when you can detect and decode body language, then you have the competitive advantage, because you can see in them any distress, and then you can do what you need to do to make them feel more at ease.
Ease. Mhm.
Okay, ease gets you to the yes, right? What
Ease, and that's kind of like I like one-on-one better
I do too.
than group environments.
Right, we're both introverts. Nobody believes that I'm an introvert, but
I don't people don't believe I am either.
yeah, but we are. We prefer our own company. Thank you very much. So
So COVID hasn't been exactly horrible.
no, I love COVID home.
I mean, I want to get out, yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
do want to get out because I don't want to be in the house all the time, but I'm okay with myself being, well, there's some people just can't handle it. And they're
No,
going crazy and they're, super depressed and
and look, when we're on Zoom, we can see the whole face instead of real face to face. Now, what are your barriers or challenges that would hinder you from learning more about body language or taking a body language class if it were offered?
time.
And if I could reframe that to the time that it takes to learn go through the training, you will be delighted when you see the training, and you'll want to actually learn more, because for every video that you see, it's like, oh my gosh, that is super cool, or wow, now I need to look at that whenever I engage with people. That's the response that people tend to get when they really absorb body language training. All of the light bulbs go on their head, right? But just think of all the time that people waste when they don't see and detect what's right in front of them, and they lose the deal, and they get people they lose the connection, right? And then they don't close the deal. So that's time, effort, and money that they waste because they're not utilizing their God-given natural talent of body language. Okay, so time might be a barrier. That is absolutely true with entrepreneurs. What else might be a barrier or a challenge that might not get you over to the other side of, yeah, that might be something I absolutely need?
Cost, what the cost of time and money, because that time is a cost as well, because I know time is money. Definitely time is the biggest thing, because I not only have my business, I also help two directors who
Yeah,
are they're mature. I was going to say elderly. They're mature, and technology is, this whole tech world isn't easy for them.
but see, if you, with every body language training video that you absorb, let's say for the hour that you spent, you could actually pass that on to your directors
To
so
them.
that they increase their sales, which it increases your, you know, upline, right? And it's costing people money because they're not observing and connecting to their full potential, right? Um, I had a friend who lost $2,000 and she cut her price when the other person wasn't even asking for a price reduction, but it was what my friend was saying in between her head, that she didn't value her talent, that she sabotaged herself and cut her price. But she didn't see in the body language that the other person is emotionally connected to her photography and wasn't even asking for a price cut. Sometimes the stories that we tell in our head self-sabotages us because we don't feel we're worth it. But if you can see the full engagement in the other person and they're really connecting with you, they're going to buy what you're selling, because you're not selling Mary Kay, you're selling yourself, and you're selling the transformation,
Relationship,
and the relationship. What do you want to include in the 12-week program that will be helpful for you?
I don't know.
What
I have
I
to think about it. I'm also a thinker. Like, I
Yes,
have to think about things.
yes,
Like, I don't always think about something in the moment. I sometimes have to think about it later.
that's introversion too, where
Yeah.
your
I
thought,
don't always have I wish I was quicker at responding
that's not necessarily a disadvantage. Extroverts speak before they think, we think.
before we speak.
And what
Oh,
I'll help you with that answer. I will include lots of training videos, lots of examples of killers.
killers.
Yes, killers, because then you can see in their body language, because we know that they're guilty, they were convicted of their crime. So you can see in their body language when they're lying, because we know the outcome. And so when you see these indicators in other people, then you have a heads up to navigate through the conversation. Now,
Have you
what other,
studied Scott Peterson?
no, I haven't studied Scott Peterson yet, but I did Christopher Watts, who strangled his pregnant wife, his 3-year-old, and his 4-year-old, right? And you could tell in his interview, he was rocking and he was doing a lot of this, right? And every time he would use distancing words, and he could not say my wife or my daughter or their names. And when he did say his wife's name, you saw you could see the micro expression contempt look. So this is what I mean about, oh my God, when you see my analysis of Christopher Watts, the time and the money aspect that used to be barriers are no longer barriers, because when you don't take the class, you're losing out on time and you're losing out on money, because when the news person could see that, then he could navigate his follow-up questions to draw out more intel from Christopher Watts. If he saw that contempt, he could continue to say, well, tell me about your marital relationship. And
Oh,
that person, do you know what I mean? It could make for a better interview. If he didn't see that,
I might have been a little worried though.
but you see, if that newscaster didn't see that and he didn't see the rocking, then he's missing out on the key questions that could get that person to squirm more if he's guilty. So it could cost him time and money by not catching it. Thank you, Kristina. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll try to be on at 4 today.
Yay!
Yeah. And then we'll see what my interest is, see how, I'm curious to see how I engage with that and see if it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
My interest.
I have, it's interactive. So I have the attendees type their thoughts and their analysis in real time. And then I look at the transcript and I learn from what everybody notices.
Oh, okay.
And I want to compliment you. Your skin looks so peachy cream and just flawless.
Thank you.
I love that. Okay.
My aunt, I just saw a picture of her doing that. So that's what made me think of it.
I want to take a picture of that. Okay. Do that again. Yay. That's so pretty. I'm going to post-production edit this and show you our interview. And it's educational for me.
Okay. Sounds good.
Bye, dear.
Okay. Bye.